Hello, I'm Paula, doula to me friends, pleth to those who I really trust. Why pleth? Well, that's for me to know, you to never find out. Anyway, do you fancy coming on a journey with me? This is my Freddie. Freddie is my fun-size Ferrari. Come on. Oh no, 37.10. I forgot my highway code. Whoa, look at this, look at that. And they say women can't drive.
She's got something to say to the world.
Every time I used to pass it, now I smile.
She wants to know if she could tie it up so he can't move. She is feeling inspired. She said it's too cold for its own good. She's kind of freaky. She's kind of weird. She's kind of freaky, but I don't know. I think she's a genius. If she...
I grew up with three older brothers. Jamie, Gary, Michael, aka Goose, Turkey and Sparrow Legs. We grew up in a place called Walton. Well, actually Walton Park. Not Walton Park itself, but a street. It was in the shape of a horseshoe. Yeah, Mum and Dad bought this massive house. Must have been about 4 stories high. Why they bought such a big house, I don't know. Probably to cater for all of us, because there was 6 of us. And we were close to family, and apparently it only cost £3,000. You couldn't even buy a car for that. But anyway, I remember the first day that we moved into the house. We were all excited. I was really excited. This little 4-year-old, you know, right, go climb up these stairs. I'm going to Bagsy the best bedroom. So I was running up the stairs, and God, it seems to just take forever. I think there was about 3 flights of stairs. I finally hits the top of the stairs, and this door just whack right in the face. Well, I just bounced back down again, probably quicker than I actually ran up, and yeah, I saw stars and everything like that. I was okay, I was fine, bit bruised, but I just remember my mum looking at my dad going, right, that's your first job, Jim, you've got to change the hinges on the other side of the door. It was RJ who'd used a trolley. Yeah, I've got lots of fun. Yeah, lots of lovely memories of Walton Park. I just remember it was a house just full of life. We were called the Madhouse. Everybody who lived in the neighbourhood just congregated in our house, because like windows were always open, music was blasting out. Lights were always on. I mean, my granddad used to complain about the lights. It was like Blackpool Tower. But do you know what? Mum didn't care. You know, that's just the way she liked it. Dad, not so much. Yeah, but he put up with it. But then he used to work away a lot. I remember the times my dad would go on a business trip at the weekend, and the minute he was gone, my mum would be like, right, come on, let's get the water balloons out. To my mum, you know, everything had to be massive, and celebrations had to be massive, you know, Easter, Halloween, yeah, and Christmas time, you know, you imagine Christmas time, the World and his wife was invited to Christmas dinner, yeah. But my best Christmas was when I was only young, and I got this little chickaboo monkey. I think I'll let our Jay tell that story.
Obviously, as you do, and come to signing the card, I sign mine, Jay, and Gary. Oh, Mike. That's just normal. Our Paula was about 2 and she insisted she wanted to write her own name. And we just all looked at it because we weren't going to say a word to our Paula. No, we weren't going to upset her. And give her a due, she wrote the P. And we all looked at each other and thought, it's a good start. And then she wrote an L. And we looked at each other and we thought, well, I'm not going to say nothing because this is our Paula and she's the apple of my mum's eye. If we shout at her and say it's wrong, she's going to... Yeah, anyway, that was the way it was. And actually, years on afterwards, I remember now thinking to myself, when she wrote the P and I said to her, hey, you, I think she was shouting, and she thought I was shouting at her, and she just put the L, so she missed the AU out. Anyway, she followed the L with an E, and then an F, and then proudly presented the card to us as if that's my name and that's what I'm getting called. So consequently, until she was about 40, yeah, she was known as Plef. She got to that point where she said,
I can't believe you
enough
told
now,
people why I'm called Plef. And actually, that's not true. I was actually embarrassed by that name.
For those of you old enough, it was like a 6-inch monkey. Had no features about it other than the fact that it was very cute. I mean, it was not like nowadays, it didn't cook your tea and iron your clothes or anything like that. It was just a little cute monkey. One endearing fact it did have, you could put its thumb in its mouth. So, it was a little monkey. It was a little monkey, sucked its thumb. Our Paula never identified the thumb with the finger as different, so she actually thought it sucked its finger. I remember the day she actually got this thing. It was quite funny in a sense. She opened the presents and she ran into the room and she had this monkey, and instead of saying, Mum, I've got this monkey that sucks its finger, she got the first letters mixed round and declared, Mum, look, I've got this monkey that its finger. At a 2-year-old, that was funny. It was funny. I had to bleep that because obviously we don't want to swear, but I think you get the gist of it, don't you? You understand. Do you mind stopping it? What? No, don't pee on the grass. I'm trying to do a video here. No, I'd appreciate it if you didn't pee on the grass. Cheers. Thanks very much. I knew I should never have married her. But anyway, I've never been so proud of anybody in my life as I am of our Paula. She has a care and temperament, which is second to none. I could sit here and give you lots of little anecdotes, but as a child, she was just a fun-loving kid who had this endearing love for animals, which then grew into people. And I've never ever been so proud of her. And during this lockdown, I suppose I'd be even more proud of her for, and all the rest of you guys you've actually turned to during these hard times. And as I say, I'm going to keep it short. 1, because I'm a bit camera shy, and 2, because I know these things can get a bit boring, and 3, it's actually getting sunny out there, so I'm going to catch a bit of sun rays. Stay well, stay safe, and look after yourselves. Cheers, guys.
Oh, thanks, Jay. That was lovely. Bless you. I'll pay you later. And would you believe I've actually still got Chickaboo, and he still sucks his finger. He's not bad for a 42-year-old, isn't he? Going a little bit bored, but still cute. Anyway, I went to Rice Lane School, which was just juniors, which was just down the road, and I loved it. I loved junior school. I really got into sport. Rounders, badminton, believe it or not. And I was really great at rounders. In fact, they used to call me Slogger, because I literally used to just slog the ball all the time. Sometimes actually into the street, beyond the school. And sometimes I'd end up in the headmaster's office. Yeah, well, quite a few times actually, yeah. Unintentionally, but yeah. I wasn't a very good actress. I remember the Christmas play. I'd always be given the job as Triangle, Little Triangle, yeah. And I wasn't very good at that either. I missed. I only had to strike it once, and I even missed my cue on that. But yeah, the following year they just dressed me up as a mince pie. I think that was a safer bet. So as I say, I really loved junior school, but then I went on to senior school. I went to Exactly High, And that was different for me. I think a lot of things were changing in my life. I mean, I was good, you know, I was in top class. My grades were good. But I think over the years, things really changed for me. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I just felt that I couldn't fit in. Yeah, the other girls would be in the corner flirting with boys, talking about boys, you know, talking about makeup, and I just felt that I just couldn't relate to that somehow. So, like, at break time, you know, you'd find me in the art class talking to the art teacher, you know, and sketching away. I suppose, that was my solitude, you know, and I still like my sports and stuff. That sort of kept me sane, but I found that I was isolating myself more and more, and I think Mum sensed this, so I think she thought me joining the ATC would be a good thing, to give me some confidence and a mix with the right groups and stuff like that. So I did, and I actually really enjoyed it, because I got to fly planes, I got to wear a really smart uniform, polished boots, nice beret and stuff like that, shoot guns, march out on parade. So I really liked it. It was good, but I quickly realised that I wasn't very good at taking orders from people, so I left. So I left that, and I just went sort of back to the comfort of art, and running. Believe it or not, I know, I used to be a runner. I used to be quite obsessive, actually. I think the more I pushed myself a lot, I would think nothing of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go for a run. You know, those who are runners, you know, they'd be able to sort of relate to this, you know, that that morning dew, and nobody's around and there's just you on the road, you know. I'd just head off, forget to come back sometimes. Yeah, I got really obsessed with it. I think I really, later on I realised it was sort of a form of escapism for me. Lots of things were sort of really going wrong. I was really struggling with my identity. You know, Mum and Dad, they were down in the divorce courts. Lots of stuff was going on. So running was a big outlet for me. I was a good runner, probably a Forrest Gump, but I was a clumsy one. I damaged my ankle 3 times. Well, in fact, I broke my ankle, my left ankle, 3 times, and several sort of sprains and stuff like that. And then eventually it came a time when the doctor said to me, you know, Paula, you've really got to stop. You're going to end up in a wheelchair, you know. And to me, you know, someone telling me I couldn't run was like, you know, someone telling me I couldn't breathe. So where'd you go from there? Again, Dad, you know, I think he sensed it as well. So much going on for me. So he whisked me up to California. His sister lived over there, and me 2 cousins. And that was fantastic. I mean, that was like a breath of fresh air. Is it just what I needed? You know, I just finished my GCSEs, and I was expected to fail them. I landed in sunny California, and it was a great place. A place I needed to be there, you know, just at that moment, because everything just seemed so different, and positive things I never experienced before. One, constant sun, which was a bonus, but also my auntie, she was involved in a big sister program whereby kids from different backgrounds, terrible backgrounds actually, she would support them, help them see a different way. You know, we spent time, you know, playing baseball and going on trips out and stuff like that. And that really touched me, actually. Yeah. Anyway, I had a great time in California. I realised I was going to go home soon, and what was I to do? You know, by that time, I was living with Dad in Rain Hill. I think I wanted to, I came back with a more positive attitude. I thought, right, I want to get my qualifications back, so I went to college, gained my GCSEs back, and then I really enjoyed college. I wanted to stay, and I was thinking, what can I do? You know, and I thought, obviously, my love for art, it just came naturally. So I studied art, media, different kind of things, and messed around with a few courses and stuff like that, which I think it was just an excuse to stay in college, because I think it was a different environment from school and I could relate to people. I discovered what the problem was, yeah. Well, not a problem, but yeah. The thing that really changed me about college is the people that I met. They just had a different outlook on life. So I had a good time. But when college was over, I wanted to, well, when I say college, I wanted to take a bit of a break. I was living with my dad in Rainhill at the time. And I needed to get a job. I needed to give him some keep. So I tried a few jobs. Some didn't really quite work out. I worked in a sausage factory, a frozen sausage factory for a weekend. I lasted a weekend. That was it, yeah. It wasn't really for me. I sold papers at race courses and stuff like that, which was okay, but you just couldn't earn enough. But one good thing is I got into the Grand National for free every year, which was pretty cool. Yeah, what else? And then, yeah, I thought, no, I wanted something more meaningful. And I think I was kind of looking back at my experience in California, and I wanted to sort of explore this caring side, see if I had a caring side, really. And I came across L'Arche. Yeah, they were asking for volunteers, so I thought, okay, I'll try that. And I remember the first day coming into the workshop, actually. And I was taken to the dining room. Back then, all the core members from the houses went to the workshop from 9 o'clock till 4. So can you imagine, it was really crowded, and the noise, the level of noise. Colin was doing his and you know, Mark was running around tapping everyone on the head, and I was just looking good. Oh, I'm not going to stay here that long. Okay, I'll give it 6 weeks. And then I was greeted by Grace, who came over and, you know, sat me down, have a cup of tea, love, you know, and she started telling me about L'Arche and stuff like that. She made me feel really comfy. I was assigned to the craft room where I met Chris, lovely guy, obviously, and Eileen. And I was made up because it was the craft room. It was like, yes, okay, I get to sort of mingle with people and support people, and I get to do a little bit of art stuff as well. How great is this? I'm not getting paid for it, but that's okay, that's fine. So yeah, I think the first person I worked with was Robert McWilliam. Grace said, right, you're going to work with Robert, you know, and I want you to make paper mache pigs. It's different, never done that before. And anyway, Robert showed me how to make paper mache pigs. He made sure I'd done all the cutting up, and he'd just done the sticking, the creative side, which was fine. But it wasn't that, it was about the relationship. It was just the banter and the talk and all that, you know, when we were just, you know, doing this job together, that we really got to know each other. Yeah, love Robert. Then I got an opportunity to support Max, who lived across the road in the bridge, above the bridge shop. And that was great. It was different, very different from the workshop. I think, yeah, you sort of get to know people in a different way. Because the workshop was kind of, you kind of had to time things, you know, you had production, you know, you had to produce things, and, you know, because obviously the stuff was being sold off, you know, in shops and whatnot, and over in the bridge shop as well, so, yeah. And I've got to say, it was actually really lovely supporting Max. I found her to be a really sociable person. You know, we walk around and she just say hi to everyone on the street and stuff, and God, whereas I think at that point I was a little bit of a wallflower, and I love that. yeah, she would spend a lot of her time in the evening time going to other houses. I mean, she went to the Anchorage, she went to Siloam, the Coracle and stuff. In fact, I don't think she cooked. Yeah, quite clever actually. Yeah, I don't think she, yeah, she just visited other houses. So it was great. I loved it because it meant I got to know the wider the community and how they lived and stuff, and seeing Robert not in the workshop cutting paper, actually in his home relaxing and stuff like that. And yeah, I was more drawn to the houses then at that point, to which I got an opportunity to work in the Anchorage, which was incredible because I thought, oh my God, that's the mothership. That was the first original house, and I get to actually go work in there. How brilliant is that? And I remember, the first few days in the Anchorage. Paul Gowan was the house leader, and Julian was there. But yeah, Tommy lived there, and Tina was there. Robert, I already knew, so that was great. And Fran, Franny Goose. And then there was Joan and there was Bobby. Really quite strong characters, I remember the first time, sort of my first encounter with Bobby actually. I was told so much about him, you ask people, okay, what's such a, what does, Bobby like, what does Joan like and stuff like that. And straight away, this assistant who'd been there for about 3 years, straight into the negative about Bobby, to a point where, because I built something up in my head and I thought, no, I'm not going to do that, that's not fair, I'll get to know Bobby myself, Anyway, there was one day when I came in, and I was still learning routines and stuff, and obviously Bobby was really upset about something, and the assistant who told me who Bobby is was really upset as well. And yeah, I can't even remember what the argument was about, but there was lots of screaming going on both sides. I think it was about bacon, something to do with bacon. Bobby pinched the last bit of bacon or something like that, and it just seemed ridiculous. None of them were backing down. So I thought, this has got to stop. So, sort of took a deep breath, went to Bobby in his room. He was obviously still sort of quite upset. I didn't say anything because, at that time I didn't know how to communicate with Bob. So I just, I noticed that there was an ashtray in his room. I thought, oh, a smoker, okay. So I just pulled out my pack of fags and just, and he stopped. And he came with me, I edged into the garden, and he sat down with me and we had a smoke. Still hadn't a clue what he was saying. He was still a little bit upset and stuff like that, but I think what was important for me was it didn't matter, whether we could understand each other at that point. I think he just needed somebody to just listen, and just be with him and just acknowledge him, acknowledge that he was angry about something. And our relationship just seemed to gel from there. I mean, Max used to go to Siloam. I think it was on a Tuesday, I can't remember. But it was the first time I met, well, there was Margie and there was Paul and there was Dawn Taylor. I'd never met anybody like Dawn before. Supposedly non-verbal, classed as non-verbal. But to me, Dawn made it very clear what she wanted. I think she communicated very well, what she wanted and what she didn't want. And that really impressed me, that really touched me. She could be so tactile and loving. And it was almost like she used to tune into how you were feeling, because she'd just come and grab you. And whether you liked it or not, you got the hug. Right there, whether it was by the head or not. And me, before then, I wasn't a hugger, anybody, I'd just freeze, if anybody go dare hug me and stuff. But somehow I allowed Dawn to do that, and it felt nice, that she offered that to me, So I was able to offer that to people later on. So thank you, Dawn. Yeah, so, and of course Robert, I knew Robert already, so it was lovely to just see him in a different environment, relaxed and um, in his own little chair and his own routine, and getting to form a relationship in a different way. And Tommy, I found Tommy quite incredible actually. He taught me how to be silent. It was okay to just sit with each other in silence and just be present to one another. I never experienced that before because, whenever I'm in company with someone, you feel as though you've got to fill the gap with conversation and stuff like that. Actually, Tommy taught me how to slow down and actually just be present. Yeah, and then of course there was Fran. Yeah, she used to call me Paula Goose. And I was really fascinated, well, I still am fascinated with Fran, kind of dips in and out of our world. I always call her Disney World, I always saw that as sort of a protection. And sometimes I'd, be like, can I come in there with you, Fran? That world seems really wonderful, where nothing bad happens and, but yeah. And of course, Tina Brady. Really, yeah. When you first see Tina, you kind of, oh, yeah, Tina, so small and gentle and so on. And actually, Tina's a really strong woman who knows what she wants. I enjoy spending time with her, probably because we both like Madonna. At the time, anyway, I was really into Madonna. We'd compare notes on whether her hair was, the right colour and stuff, and what music, that she was playing and stuff like that. Yeah. And there was Joan, who initially I was a little bit scared of, because obviously I'd come across her in the workshop. And I figured with Joan, she's not a person that easily trusts. So I didn't get the opportunity to really get to know while I was in the workshop. All I know that she'd come in and she'd order people about and ready to clean the tables. And she had a job to do, that was it. She was very focused and stuff like that. And probably because I wasn't a man, because she was a massive flirt, that she wasn't really that interested in me. I thought, oh my God, this woman, how do I get to know this woman? And she was a tough nut to crack. It took a while for us to really build a relationship. I think I just didn't give up. I thought, I really want to get to know this woman because this woman fascinates me. I got to know a little bit of her history and where she came from, and I thought, wow, this woman is a survivor. She survived a lot, and she's got this wall of protection around her. I get that. But I'm going to chip away a little bit. I'm going to get her to trust me. And it took a lot of hard work, a lot of bargaining, come on, let's go here, let's go there, go on, bring her in custard creams, she's still, swear and shout at me or, dismiss me or wherever, but I thought, don't give up. And we actually got there. I don't know when, can't name the day, but yeah, it was when she decided, yeah, it's okay, yeah, go on, you can go to the supermarket with me. I was yeah, delighted. And then from there, I had a newfound respect for Joan. So I was really proud actually that, I managed to actually form, and I'd say strong relationships with both Joan and Bobby, who were I would say probably the head of the house, or they thought they were the head of the house. They certainly behaved like they were the head of the house. So, for them to let me in, I felt really privileged. Yeah, took a lot of hard work, but yeah, I felt really privileged in the end when we got there. I loved the atmosphere in the house. I loved the whole idea of the anchorage. Well, any house. They were living assistants, and I love that idea. I actually love that idea of sort of living assistants. People, living alongside each other. And this was a big house. I mean, you're talking about 10, 12 people living in the one house with, obviously, their own different needs and stuff. It's like, how do you do that? How do you get on with each other? How do you live every day, without killing each other? And the anchorage seems, don't get me wrong, the anchorage had its moments. But it just seemed to work, and I was really attracted. And I just felt really at home. There was an opportunity for me to become house leader. I think it was about 2 years in. Yeah, and I thought, oh, I haven't got enough experience. But obviously the people around me felt as though they could trust me with the house. So I thought, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I became house leader in 1999. And I remember my first challenge was to welcome Andrew into the community and into the Anchorage, which was really interesting. But it was actually quite exciting, actually, getting a new corpsman, because obviously Tina had just left, and people were sort of, the loss of Tina, and this young new guy, with full of ideas and different ways of being, trying to sort of get him to connect with everyone, and build relationships and to settle in, really, and to see whether it was going to work for him and work for those, those in the Anchorage as well. So yeah, it was a really nice experience, actually. What I loved about the Anchorage was it was a house just full of energy and diversity, and the dynamics were just incredible. From Tommy being quite calm to Bobby being quite vocal in what he wanted, and the assistants. I love the fact that we had live-in assistants, and they come from abroad, because it just opened up a whole new way of thinking, and learn about different cultures, different food. I struck up really great friendships. Consequently, I went, give me the opportunity to travel a lot, because the assistant would come, you'd form a relationship, a friendship, and then they invite you back home to, Switzerland, Poland, Germany, wherever. And that's why, it was so rich, so rich in culture, the community, really. We started looking at sort of individuals on actually whether the Anchorage was suitable for them. And I think it became really clear that Robert wanted to live somewhere else. I don't think the Anchorage was quite right for him. So we started that process, of where he would like to live, and I think it was quite obvious that the Spring was probably the best place for him, because that was a place that he'd often visit, and Barbara was there, Pete was there, he liked Pete. So we started that process off, which was really actually quite exciting, actually. Joan had been diagnosed 5 years previous with Alzheimer's. And that came as not a shock, but it was devastating, because I personally had, built up a great relationship with Joan. And to know, I knew what Alzheimer's was, and what path it was going to take. So I had to sort of get hold of my own emotions and act, put my house leader's hat and say, right, practically, what can we do for Joan? Because I think I remember at the time, in the community, a few people were sort of not objecting to be, but were questioning whether, the Anchorage was the right place for Joan to be with this disease, suggesting care homes, nursing homes and stuff like that. And, for me, it was a no-brainer. There was no way that Joan was going to be put into a nursing home. A lot of questions were asked, and are we equipped to look after somebody, with Alzheimer's? And I said, not at the moment, but we can be. I will train people, or get people trained, and we will just, knowledge is power. So that's what we've done. We made sure that we had the right tools to support Joan, so that she could die with dignity in her own home, own home that she'd lived in for 30 plus years. So yeah, she didn't actually die in her home, but she was allowed. I think the importance is she was allowed to stay in her own home and be supported. Rightly so. As the disease progressed, was that it did actually strip her down. Okay, it stripped her down of her skills and stuff, and that was really hard because this fierce, independent-minded woman could no longer do things, and you could see her frustrations all the time, and that was really heartbreaking. It's almost like the power was taken away from her, but then something else formed, that I noticed. That Joan, in her character, that she had this protective wall, and she wouldn't let anybody in. You'd have to chip away. From time to time, she'd let you in and talk, so you'd have to have big arguments then to get the hug. What I noticed with this horrible disease, but that she no longer had this protective wall. You could just go straight for the hug. It was almost like she allowed herself to be vulnerable, but to trust that you were going to care for her well. So in a way, there was like really nice moments, and everyone go to bed, and me and Jonah just sit there and just listen to music, and just be. There was no barrier, and I just chug her away to bed. Keep up on the gossip, just the simple things. I think it was just being. There was no bravado, there was no fighting, there was no, and for her to trust me in that sense, to just be by her side and just. I think she just wanted to be hugged. She wanted hugs. She wanted, affection, and just wants to be loved and cared for in that stage of in her life. I'd never really experienced anyone close, dying. So for Joan was the first person that I was able to hold her hand when she took her last breath, and that felt really, when you think about the amount of people that have come and gone in her life, the history there and stuff, I was able to be there at that moment, to say goodbye to her. It was the first time sort of experiencing a large funeral. We had to make sure, I wanted to make sure that her life was celebrated as she deserved. So we made sure we dress up in colourful outfits and add the things around her, what remind us of Joan. All the custard creams and a barmanade and a trolley and stuff like that, just to really honour her life. And so it would be uplifting and a real celebration of her life. I had to be really practical. It was really hard to sort of take control of my own emotions because, like I said, it was really difficult. I was really close to Joan, and to experience that loss. But at the same time, I was a house leader, so I had to be very practical. And I felt that I had to be strong for all the core members and the assistants, and this is what had to be done. So I put my house leader's hat on and just got on with it. It was like autopilot and making sure that her life was celebrated well. And what really struck me, while I thought I was being brave for everyone else and core members and stuff, we had the funeral, and then right at the end in the cremation, I remember when everybody was going, everything was over kind of thing, I thought, right, now I can take my house leader. Nobody's around. Now I can take my house leader's hat and just cry. And I did. I just cried and bawled. I thought I was by myself, but this hand came on my shoulder. I had no idea who it was at that point anyway. But when I sort of put my head up and heard Bobby's voice, it was Bobby. yeah. It's me thinking, you know, I was worried about, you know, because Joan and Bobby had a kind of love-hate relationship, but there was that mutual respect for each other. And I thought, you know, the way I'd seen Bobby, the way he changed towards Joan. You know, they used to have shouting matches with each other, but when she got ill, he changed. He started going into Joan, you know, wanting to feed her, you know, and just spend time with her, care for her. He was more patient. He understood. I mean, that was the thing that really surprised me about our guys and taught me a lesson, actually. How people get it. Don't underestimate people. And Robert as well, actually, you know, because actually Robert was about to make his own journey to the spring. And yes, he still kept tuned with Joan, whereas before I'd noticed there was a change in Robert. You know, before it was, oh, Joan's screaming again. You know, it was, Joan's upset, she needs help, you know. And he would sit with Joan on the edge of the room that is me with my practical head on. My house leaders hat, thinking I've got to look after core members, you know, especially Bobby, with the relationship that they had. I was looking out for him. I was ready for him to drop, you know, on my shoulder, and it wasn't. It was the other way around. And I thought, you're an amazing guy. He, you know, in that creme, he had his hand on my shoulder, and he was okay. It's okay, Paula. It's okay. It's okay. And I just, woo, that made me more emotional. It's like, I'm supposed to be comforting you. And I thought, you are one amazing guy. After Joan died, I obviously stayed in the Anchorage. And I felt that I needed to be there at the time, you know, just to hold the house. You know, the house was grieving, so I needed that. So I think, yeah, it was the following year. An opportunity came for me to become a housing coordinator. I don't know what that's equivalent to in today's, LARSH, but it was basically to manage the house leaders in some kind of way. And actually that was really something appealing to me, because I think I was caught between something, you know, the loss of Joan. I was really emotionally affected by that, and I thought, there was possibly that I wanted to push on to, I think I was running away, really, thinking about it later. But that opportunity came. And I felt really flattered, you know, that I was asked, you know, to be a housing coordinator. Oh, God, wow. Little didn't know, actually, it wasn't, you know, just asked. I thought it was going to be given to me. No, I had to interview a, you know, the big panel of sort of 8 people. So. But I got the job anyway. And I just thought it'd be different, it'd be something different. I thought I could sort of, I think by then I'd been a house leader for 7-8 years or something. In fact, I think I was the longest standing house leader in the UK. Somebody told me that at that point. So I thought maybe, you know, I've got something to, you know, share with other house leaders and maybe inspire them and learn something new. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, you know, I did, but I realised it wasn't really life-giving. It was great, you know, forming the house leaders group and stuff like that, but something was missing. One, I can't do 9 to 5. That's never been me. And also there's my office was in the workshop, and obviously the guys from the Anchorage would still come in and say hi. Andrew would come in and tell me, you know, how his week's been, and assistants would come and say, oh, we did this and we did that and stuff like that. And there was a little part of me that actually was really jealous, and I thought, I miss that, actually. I actually miss being with people. So that's when I decided, this role wasn't really for me. I could still hopefully inspire people just from a, you know, in a different way. I didn't have to be a manager to do that, you know. and I wanted to be back in the Anchorage. Yeah, because there was another mission that I needed to go and complete. Bobby had been asking for a flat, God love him, for probably about 20 years, and I thought he's going to get his flat. So I think that was my main focus, was to look at that, and the opportunity came for him to move to Fountain Court, what we see as Fountain Court now. I mean, he later moved to Green Lane, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of that, actually. I mean, it wasn't obviously just me that was part of that, but I think the determination, listening to Bob and the frustrations, he was getting really fed up of being in the Anchorage and constantly asking that. So Bobby had moved out, and then I started looking at the rest of the core members that were left in the Anchorage, and it was very clear that the Anchorage was no longer suitable. The needs have been changing, so we just started looking for a new place for them to move on to, and that's where sort of the harbour came about, and that was that was a really good decision. Yeah, something within me was changing as well. And I don't know quite what, but I was offered to take a sabbatical, and I thought I really liked that idea, because I think it was probably a natural ending, to my Anchorage journey, or my journey as a house leader. Part of it is actually I kept in contact with the community. I became a PCP facilitator, done a little photography. In fact, it was at that time when I started doing more and more photography, exploring the arty side to me, and I really got a good taste for photography. I mean, that sort of built up long before then. In 2008, with the Capital of Culture, with these giant, do you remember those giant mechanical giants roaming the street of Liverpool? So yeah, it kind of sort of started from there, my deepening love for photography. So yeah, I spent some time on that during the sabbatical, just exploring different things. Then I returned. Actually, before I returned, I went on a silent retreat so that I could really sort of be in touch with what I really wanted to do next. I came back, and I was asked to actually close the Anchorage. I didn't expect to, I was just going to come back to Laois and just fit in where the need was. But I was actually specifically asked to help close the Anchorage, which was a real honour, actually, because when you think of it, it's, as I said before, it was it's the mothership. And now I had this responsibility of closing it, closing down that little bit of history, but also trying to enable Tommy, Fran and Andy to move on well. So I did that. Alongside that as well, I was house leader, and there was a restructure happening, whereby house leaders their roles were going to be depleted, and there was going to be a new structure in there, and then I had to think then, there was little hints, and people were saying, why don't you go for the new locality manager's job and stuff like that, and I think at that stage, I think I felt as though I'd gone as far as I could. I didn't want responsibility anymore. I think by that stage it'd been 11, 12 years. And also my mum was getting more seriously ill and needed more support, so I think that was a natural ending for me. I think it was clear for me that, where my heart needs to be then. So I decided actually to take redundancy. So I felt that I needed to be with Mum, because her partner was becoming ill, and yeah, there were certain things like you couldn't no longer, take mum out of God. Mum was somebody who just wants to be out all the time, sort of out in the car, whether it was just going shopping or, to cinema, going to cafes and stuff like that kind of thing. And obviously Ken could no longer do that, so I kind of took over that role full time. I was always kind of doing that with mum, but as Ken grew iller and iller, yeah, he couldn't do that, so I stepped into that role, and yeah, it was something I really enjoyed because I got to spend a lot of really good quality time with mum. Yeah, we became a double act really. Anywhere I went, mum came with me, and anywhere where mum wanted to go, then I went with mum. But yeah, Ken died a few months later, and obviously that was really devastating for mum at the time. And that had quite an impact on her, and an impact on her health. So I actually made the choice to actually move in with her. Not for either emotional stuff, not just physical support, but sort of emotional support. At the same time, I sort of kept in touch with Losh because I missed Losh, because to me, Losh was like my other family. It's that kind of, you take the girl out of Losh, but so yeah, so I was kind of on relief. Yeah, but obviously my main focus was on supporting mum. And mum being mum, no matter what kind of problems that she had, in her eyes, there's always somebody worse off, love. Always, really? You go to dialysis, 3 times a week, your kidneys are knackering up, you're taking seizures and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, there's always somebody worse off. Bless her. But that was the attitude I loved about mum. That she never stopped living, fighting to live, that she made the most of life and the opportunities that came away. So she would still, when I get out there in, the cold, and what I really loved is actually, I thought it'd be nice to have a dog, have a little puppy in the house. So I said, Mum, you fancy having a dog? And she went, yeah, love, it's been a while, it's kind of, I think, it was probably Jodie was the last dog, that she ever had. So yeah, we trotted up to Doncaster. Kiara is a Yorkshire lass, actually. And we collected this lovely bundle of joy. And Mum, I remember Mum falling asleep on her on the way back. And that was a good focus, actually, for her, she was great. She actually trained Kiara for me, because actually, in those moments, I was, tootling off to Lars and whatnot. And Mum had this little puppy to sort of focus on as well, and to love. And it was a good excuse to get out. We used to, every night I remember, I loved going down the pier head, around 10 o'clock, listening to Pete Price, listening to all the cranks on the radio, stuff like that. And we were sort of, discussing that, and she'd go out in a mobility scooter and we'd just walk along the docks, late at night with Kiara tootling away. I love those. Every single night we'd do that, and it was lovely, really nice. But as time passed, it was clear that Mum's health was failing more, and eventually, even though it was really strange because you kind of hope your parents live forever. I kind of knew in the background that at some point she was gonna die, because she had well, the doctors had told her, that she had probably another 3 years if she was lucky. So in my head, I was, okay, she's got 2 years. Let's make the most of this, kind of thing. But actually, she took a bad turn for the worse. So when she actually passed away, it was a shock. I had to sort of quickly gather my thoughts and be in the moment with Mum. I was fortunate. I was. I could be by her side when she passed away. Don't know how much I loved her and what she meant to me. She passed away a couple of weeks before my 40th birthday. Great time, my mum. I later found out that from my Auntie Pam that she'd been saving up money for my big birthday. And she presented me with this money, and she said, "Yeah, look, that's from your mum. She wanted you to go to New York. Mum knew New York was my dream destination, never quite got there. I don't know what the fixation was from New York. Probably watched too much Friends. Sex and the City, yeah. But anyway, I'd always, for years, wanted to go to New York. Yeah, she made my dream come true. Obviously didn't go straight away. I managed to go there a couple of years ago with Dad. Yeah. So that was, yeah. And there's a little part of my mum in New York. It was a lovely idea from Irene, actually. Who said, why don't you leave something in your mum's in Central Park? Of all places, she loved the Beatles, especially John Lennon. So there we were in Central Park, me and Dad, and I just snuck this earring of mum's in and just buried it there. So there's a little pot of my mum in New York. It's really lovely. And I also braved my second tattoo, you know, at my age, yeah, in honour of mum, yeah, just on the back of my neck. So, yeah. So whenever you see me doing this, I'm thinking of mum, you know. Yeah, whenever I think of mum, yeah. Not only the tattoo, but I go to Barebow Bank because that was her favourite place. In fact, that was the place where she wanted her ashes scattered anywhere. So, you know, when I'm feeling a little bit down or I need a bit of inspiration or want to have happy thoughts, actually, because, you know, a lot of my memories of mum were really happy ones, especially when we were kids. So there's actually two places. There's Walton Park. Sometimes I'll go there and just sit outside and just think about, you know, when we were kids. Or go to Barebow Bank and think of mum. Or just ask her questions or talk to her. Dad being Dad took me under his wing for a little while. I don't know, there's something about you. You're always Daddy's little girl. So me and Kiara went to live with Dad for a little while and just, you know, spend time together and just, reflect and just take space out. But I realised actually I really missed Lars as well, you know, as much as I needed that time away from everybody. You know, I also needed Lars. I needed to come back. I needed a distraction. I needed to come home. Yeah. So I think people probably noticed that I was back in the community. So I was being asked to do many things and stuff like that. But one of them was to take over as a, well, not take over, to be a temporary team leader for Fountain Court, because they didn't have one at that point. So yeah, temporary. 4 years on, I'm still here. But actually, that's my choosing now. Ironically, it's, I'm back leading a house or building, a building that's actually the oldest in Larsh at the moment, just like I was in the Anchorage. So there's something quite poetic about that. I love Fountain Court for just the pure energy. It can send you on a roller coaster of emotions, from, you know, being happy and fun and creative to sadness, you know, to frustration, but then back to happiness again. And that's what I love. Actually, throughout my whole journey in Larsh, you know, that you move on, no matter what crisis you deal with. It's having that faith that you've got to get through it together and move on. Tomorrow's another day. Whether somebody has an argument with somebody, there's forgiveness there, and I think that's a really important lesson. That it's different the next day. You just dust yourself off, and it's a new day. Just in the case of Annie, you know, one moment she's there living her life, you know, with us, and then she's gone. And obviously that was a really devastating blow for all of us in Fountain Court. And we're actually just still working our way through that, but we try to find new life. And that was the same for, you know, the year before when a little buddy, Bobber, had passed away. That you need to find a way to not move on from that, but yeah. God, it's really hard to summarise the last 25 years. How can you do that? And what you've learned in L'Arche, what I've learned in L'Arche, is to be able to trust people. Also to allow yourself to be vulnerable, that people actually can hold you. And a part of that comes with acceptance, you know. That was really important for me when I first came to L'Arche. That I found out who I was, but you know, I still hid it away, and I needed a safe place where I can just be myself, and that was really, really important. And I think that's sort of allowed me to just, you know, continue my journey in L'Arche and just grow as a person, really. And it's thanks to those people who have took the time to get to know who I am, and teach me so much and inspire me. So for that, I'm really thankful, and always will be. Where do I go from here? I'm actually really happy where I am right now, and actually look forward to continuing with Fountain Court and seeing where that goes.